Hello, welcome in Uniton. Am I saying your name right, Uniton? Or is it Uniton? Because you have two N's there. Okay. Let the word out. Alright. Okay. Let's go ahead and start the stream, I suppose. Okay. Oh. So yeah, it's currently 9:45 a.m. for me, pretty much. So it's pretty early for me. Just felt like, woke up feeling good, ate some breakfast, started my morning pretty much. And really just felt like doing some more work on the plugin. I really want to get these menus done so we can move on. Hello, welcome in, new Twitch person. I do not know how your name is meant to be spelled or it's pronounced. Welcome in, welcome in. So yesterday we worked on our menus. I made this example. Twixie, got it. So yeah, yesterday we worked on our menus here. And I made an example menu. We got our click actions working, so we can click on it and run different commands or different actions that we hard-coded in. For example, this is the menu here. We have the stone that currently when you left click will make the player run the fill region command. It'll message them that you filled the region with stone, and it'll print out a console. It'll make console do /say, and then this message here. And then we have endstone, which just runs the fill region command with endstone, and obsidian, which does the same but for obsidian. So that's an example. This is what we did yesterday, making the click actions work for our menu. And that way we can now move on to, I want to get requirements done. So when you click on something, if you don't have the requirement, it won't run the actions. And I also have to do pagination after that. So that might take a while, but we'll be fine. So how do we want to format our requirements and our configs is the question. But also before we start, when we run /Astra menu, the ID for the menu, I want to be able to suggest all the different currently registered menu IDs right there, so you don't have to guess which menus there are. So to do that, we go to our main module here, and we look for our menu command here. There we go, sub command. I mean, and menu ID. Okay, I have a to-do for it already. So yes, we have to get our menu manager, and get all of our IDs from that. So we have our menu manager here. We have our menus that are being stored. And we have get menu IDs already. So perfect. And we have a get instance method for it. So all we need to do, say suggests shared suggestion. Actually, do we have a method for this already in our abstract class here? No, but we can make that to make it just a little easier for us than having to type out shared suggestion provider. We can say suggest. We have our context in our builder. That's fine. We do need that, and then we'll say list string suggestions, and then we'll simply pass suggestions in there. And we go back down to our subcommand here. You'd say suggest menu manager get instance get menu IDs. We also actually need our context builder. There we go. And actually, we don't actually even use the context in here, so I'm going to remove that as well. And just remove like that. There we go. So now this should suggest our menu IDs when we type out the command. Let's go ahead and assemble that, test that out. Also, I got some water with me this time. Okay. All right. Stop our server. Get our newly built jar. Put it in our plugins folder and restart the server. There we go. And after that, I have plans to move all of our menus from our menus folder into a new folder inside of that called custom. That way we have a folder specifically for custom menus that people can create any amount of and make their own menus pretty much. And then we can have all of our pre-configured menus right in here. So they're still configurable, but they are basically for specific things in the plugin. And not just, you know, I'll make this menu and then link it up with whatever. So we'll do that just shortly. I want to make a something like that, and then we'll move example into custom. There we go. We'll worry about that file in a bit. So our server's open. Let's go ahead and join it. Okay. There we go. Now when we type out Astra menu, we have all of our menu IDs right here. So now we don't have to type out example. We don't have to guess what the ID could be. We just see it in this list here, and then hit tab, and then we're good to go. Just like that. All right, let's go ahead and edit this menu here. Just have it do stone like that. Okay. There we go. All right. So that's our example menu there. I'm gonna go ahead and rename this one on our local machine. Just call it fill region. Yep, and then we can have another one. Just another example menu. Which case here we'll just say we'll just have stone there. we'll remove the lore. And for the display name, we'll just have example item, and we'll make it a rainbow color. Just why not? We're gonna have this be green, and then we'll also put in our player name from placeholder API and change the name. Example menu. Okay, it's gonna remove the annotations from this menu there. Okay, cool. So now if we reload, see we have two different menus in here. Hello, welcome in, Taki. I'm just gonna call you Taki, if that's alright. So yeah, we have our two menus here that we just created, because we have example and fill region in there. We open up fill region, it looks exactly the same as we just had it, and then we open example. It's the same, all I changed was the stone and got rid of these two items here. So there we go, say, click on it, says hello. So there we go. Next, I want to now move all of our menus into one more folder deep. Actually, let me... I believe I copied it, right? Okay, yeah, I just protected, that's what we want. Alright, so menu manager. We wanna move this one folder deeper. Move that one folder deeper. Okay, let's actually put this in a variable here. Private static final not null string. Custom menus folder. Menus folder equals menus slash custom slash. Okay. Now we can copy this and just put it right there. And put it right here as well. And then right there. That way we don't have to change it in multiple places. We could just change it here, and then we won't have to worry about it again. Hopefully the slash doesn't matter when I put it in here, because we do have a slash right there. Let me just remove it, and then we can put a slash in there, and then slash like that. There you go. Yep, it's good. Now our custom menus are in the custom folder, which means we need to make folder in our local server and then move these in there. There we go. And then we'll worry about our non-custom menus right here later when we actually add stuff that requires a menu. And we can run that, or rebuild our plugin, I should say. Run our server to test that out. Yeah, still registered. It's good. Everything still works great. Perfect. You can see they are indeed still in our custom folder here. Locale. We do have our locale here, but I haven't tried it in another locale, right? I have never tested this outside of just this one locale file. So let's say locale Spanish, for example. And while I don't know Spanish, we can see. locale ISO codes 639-2. So ISO.org. Is there a list here, or is it just like... Okay, I don't think there's a list here. This is a kind of laggy web page. Okay, let's just go maybe this one, .gov. Don't think this is the one I want. This one should be the same, isn't it? Let's just find English, right? English, it's EN, obviously. We also need like the country, EN_US, right? That's not on this list. Only as the first part. ISO codes language plus country. That's what I want. Okay. Represent both language and country using ISO codes. You can combine an ISO 639 language code with an ISO 3166 country code. The language code comes first. Yep. So 639 is the language and 3166 is the country code. Let's look at this Oracle documentation here. So just EN, really? Yeah, well, this isn't exactly what I was looking for. 166. Yeah, but there was a list somewhere that just had them combined already. I know that because I used to put it in other plugins. Okay, perhaps maybe we had it in here somewhere. Lang here. Yeah, we did have this stuff. So let's check our resources for an example file. Lang groups. Here we go. Yes, it's from the Minecraft wiki. In-game locale codes. That's what I should have looked up. Here we go. So these are the codes Minecraft uses. And that's important because what we're going to be doing is getting the player's locale from, where is it? Language. Right here, this is EN_US. That's what I'm using specifically. So we want like Spanish, right? So we have tons of different Spanishes here for different countries, I mean. So let's just add all of these into one group, right? This is the point of this file here. It's not just one file per locale, it's one file per group, and the group has tons of different locales in it, right? So it's Spanish, so I want ESAR, right? I believe ESCL, ESEC, ESES looks like, ESMX, ESUY, and ESV. Now I'm not sure. Now, okay, again, I don't know anything about like Spanish, right? So I don't know if these will be different, but hey, that's the beauty of having it configurable. Anyone who makes a server and uses this plugin can make whatever language and locale groups they want using whatever locale codes they want. They don't have to worry about it being hard-coded because it isn't. So let's look at English and add all those locale codes in, right? So Australia, CA. You know, actually, we don't need that because if they're not using one of these, then it's going to default to English. So it's fine. Let's copy the link for this page and put it in our thing right here, right? Use locale codes from this, and we need to format our text better, right? Locale groups, and then default locale group like that, and we can have like that. There we go. Locale code in game. There we go. Now for anyone who gets the config, or whenever they now generate it, it'll generate with these comments as well, like that. And then we'll have this here. Say locale group settings. Change that here. Here we go. Cool. So we have English and Spanish. I believe I made it separated by a comma if you only do it on one line. We'll have to check that in our locale manager. So new locale. So we have our message keys. We loop through all of our message keys that we have or want configured. And then Astra message. Right? No, this is not where the different locale groups are made. Locale groups are here, right? Okay, locales, get keys. Locales, right? Get from config. Locales plus key. So we did not have it separated by the delimiter. Okay. So we want this, we want to use the method there. Right? The delimiter will be comma. Or the string. Okay, there we go. I believe that'll work. Should I test it out? So once again, we'll have that, and we want to now locale Spanish. We want to configure this. Again, I know nothing about Spanish, so just to differentiate between English and Spanish, I'm going to make the reload command. I'm just going to put Spanish at the end of all my messages here, because again, if I actually knew Spanish, I would actually translate it, but I do not. My eye level of Spanish, my knowledge of Spanish does not extend past high school Spanish 2, in which we did not even like I did not learn much from that class, to be honest. So if anyone would like to be a translator, I think we'll have a space and a channel in our Discord for Astra where we can, like, a translation forum post or something where people can upload their own translations of the messages here for different languages. And then yeah, okay, so everything has Spanish in it, and we will put that right there as well. Yeah, okay, there we go. So now let's grab our new jar, put it in, and we'll see if that works, right? And you'll see exactly how it works as well from in-game. Again, we made this locale system quite a long time ago in a previous stream. All my previous streams on this plugin can be found on my YouTube, by the way, if you're watching on Twitch. Yeah. Okay, so let's say Astra. So not that one. Astra help. You see, it's still in English. There's no Spanish thing there. And then let's try to change our language to just. I believe we did Argentina as one of them. Let's do it. There we go. Yep. So now it's using the Spanish translations. I say, translation in quotations, but it's using the file. It's using our locale-spanish file now for me, because I changed my language to a Spanish language that we configured. If we were to go back to English, as you see, help again, now it's back to the English file. So there we go. All of our translations work perfectly. That's great. And it's based on per user. So, and whenever someone's configuring the plugin and they want to add multiple translations for, if they're not a only English server, they can totally do that. And that is what I really like about this system. And this makes me want to work on like a placeholder API extension or plugin to have translatable messages or whatever, in case anyone wants to use placeholders to, I'm thinking I'll have like a pretty much a same system here, except all the messages will be turned into placeholder API placeholders, so that you can put them anywhere in any plugin. That could be cool. But not now, obviously. So, alright, let's work on... I just had to test that. So let's work on our requirements. Let's go to our wiki here. So I have this somewhere. Let's say, so I have requirements for opening vouchers in my voucher plugin. So we could do like the same thing that these do. Requirements, because it also has actions and requirements, right? So it has money. So this just says requirements, money, has money. I don't think that we did like an or. Like an and an or version. Here's an example, right? So examples. Okay. Multiple requirements. Okay. So this is an example of randomized rewards and amounts. We have an example of multiple requirements. requirements has rank VIP, MVP, platinum. So I think these are all just or requirements. So they have VIP or MVP. Or if they meet one of these requirements, it'll not allow them to have it. So yeah, these are or. So this is, you have to, if you meet one of these requirements, it won't let you redeem it. Okay, so we have to think of another way to format this to allow for what I want to allow, right? I think I used to have a, I have to reformat this to say Delta series now. I don't know how I forgot to do that. But the link worked still. Anyways, we need to figure that out. So let's take a look at our, let's go back to the current branch we're on. Okay, let's go back to our menu file or an example. So currently we have click actions where we say actions and then left click actions, we can do something, right click actions, we could do something. But now I want a different system for requirements, yeah? So to say requirements, we want the click type, so like left or right. And then requirement 1. Right, so we'll have the first requirement here, requirements has permission. Type has permission, example, permission, right? Deny actions, say actions. You do not have the example permission, right? And then we'll also say is online where right. So here we have, let's explain this setup here. So we have requirements, right? And then left click requirements. And then we have a set of requirements here, 1. And then we can just remove that. We don't need that. We can just say this. There we go. So we have, for our item, we have requirements, we have the click type, and we have a set of requirements. The first set is 1. This means that every requirement under 1, you have to meet both of these. Meanwhile, we can have another one, 2, another set of requirements. And these can be, that means you need to meet either 2 or 1's requirements. So basically, we have or and options. So that means you must meet 1 or 2, but for those, you must meet 1 or 2, and then this one, for 1, you must meet as permission and is online, right? And same thing for this one. So that's basically what's going on. So yeah, left click requirements right there. Or maybe we could format it like this, left. Well, because these are the actions. I think this is fine. We can have it like this. Requirements, left, 1. Maybe we should say like click requirements. and maybe we can change this to click dash actions. Yeah. So if you don't meet either this requirement or this requirement, then these actions won't run for left click because you didn't meet one of the left click requirements. Okay. I think this makes sense here. We'll format it like this. And if you don't know why I format stuff in the config before I actually make it, it's just because this helps you, it really helps you understand what you're trying to do. It's basically like a baseline for like, okay, so this is what I need to do. Now I know what I need to do, right? Now I know how to do it. So having a config really helps. Even if you're making a private plugin, configs are so easy to do. It's like you could just do it. You know, you don't need to hard code like pretty much anything. Obviously, I'm not saying to make everything you possibly can configurable, but you know, say you're making a private plugin, you don't want to have to update the code whenever you want to change something simple. So that's what you would make a config for. Anyways, let's move on to our requirements. First, let's change our key here for actions, which would mean click dash actions, and here click dash actions. Right, here we go. That should fix that. All right, now we want in our API, we're gonna have to mess with this a little bit as well. Our requirements. Okay, again, let's move this. Move class to outside of the implementation package. Right. Okay, so in here, we want a I don't know if I wanna, I think I wanna reformat this. Click action. So let's undo that, right? And then let's redo that. Except select this stuff for refactoring as well. There we go. Click action manager, and then we'll say click requirement manager. Once again, we will refactor whatever else is using it. Item, click action args. Okay. Abstract, item, click action. And of course, we will refactor those. Okay. So now we can say abstract, item, click requirement. It's like that. Okay. So I've been working on plugins. I've been coding plugins for a couple years now. I don't know exactly how long or when I started, but it's definitely been a few years. I was still in high school, I believe, and I graduated high school in 2022. So yeah, and then evidently I've been working in Java for the same amount of time. I started learning Java as I started learning plugins. So, you know, I didn't know Java before then. And also, yeah, and now I'm in college for C++ game development as well. Or just more code learning. So yeah. Yes, thank you. Yeah. I definitely enjoy coding. I started learning plugins because I used to mess around a lot with servers, and configuring plugins and all that, and so I just started learning how to make plugins or whatever. What else was I gonna say? I don't know. It's definitely fun. I enjoy it. It's actually one of the only reasons I still mess with Minecraft so often. If I didn't code for it, I probably wouldn't play it as often, because there's like no more. All the servers out there these days are not very fun. Hypixel, for example, everybody loves Hypixel, but I got bored of it like years ago, to be honest. Like, I don't know, there's just not much change for it. Yeah, I mean, certainly you can hate Hypixel for any amount of reasons, but it's certainly a well put together server, that's for sure. But yeah, I got bored of it a long time ago. Minigame servers, just in general, aren't very fun if you don't play with friends. Yeah, I get what you mean. That's the reason why. I mean, I saw a video a little while ago about how 1.8 PvP is dying out, and one of the reasons was because there hasn't been any changes to it. It's just been the same thing for years since 1.8 came out, basically. People are getting tired of it. And obviously the servers that stay on 1.8 can't have all these new features that modern servers have as well. I don't know if Hypixel is even on 1.8. They might still be on 1.7.10, to be honest. Which is way older than 1.8. Okay, right. So here's what I did for requirements on other things. I had a requirement options, right? Click requirement options. And let's actually not make this. Should not make this an interface. Oh, is Hypixel actually? You said Hypixel's updating to 1.21? That would be cool. I would go back to check that out. That's for sure. Because yeah, there are a lot of new things that you can do in 1.21. First off, they had I see they announced it on Twitter. Yeah, I don't use Twitter. I never really have. Like, I have a Twitter, but I've like never used it like ever. But yeah, so that's cool. But yeah, there's a lot of new things you could do. Like like a lot of the new updates are, people are finding them disappointing, like the general audience, because they're not adding a lot of front end things that they want. But the back end features that they're updating are pretty big, like the display entities with block display, entity display, and text display. It's a whole new thing for holograms, hologram plugins and all that. I just messed around with them the other day on another plugin, and you can do so much with them. And then you can actually change your own size, like the size of the player. You can make them small, you can make them big. Same thing with mobs. You can change how far you can reach. And my theory is that they're changing all of these things to make it easier to add new features to Minecraft later on. So I feel like there's a lot of big stuff coming with those. And also it just helps with developing in general. Yeah. If you've seen any of the new stuff for the upcoming snapshots or drops or whatever, it's really cool. You can now have custom textures on an item depending on its on its data or enchantments or whatever. So you say you have like an iron sword, it's a default texture, and then you put sharpness on it, and then it changes the texture to like a sharper iron sword. It's really cool. Same thing with like the item name. You can rename it in an anvil and it'll change the texture or whatever. And you can combine them as well, do a bunch of different stuff. Well, not combine them, but like, you know, if you have like, you can say like, oh, it has sharpness and mending or whatever, you can have a specific texture for that. It's really cool. Wow, cool. Is your server public? And what kind of server is it? It sounds cool. But yeah, okay. What do I need to do here? Let's check. Check my old plugins API here. Requirements. Did I not? Okay, well, there's key config, so it has to be in the API somewhere. Config. There we go. Key config. Here we go. I'm friends with Debit. I don't think I know. I don't think I actually know Fade Cloud. Is Debit like a person from there? Like a higher up or something? Townie, interesting. Debit cards is dev. Okay, let me hold on. Let me open up my Discord here. Are you in my Discord by chance? Since you know I'm friends with them. Yeah. What's your Discord so I can check mutual friends? Oh, there you are. I see you. Never mind. Debit cards. I see. Mutual servers. From him. I have 3 mutual servers with him. Or her. I don't know who they are. It's not loading though. It's being slow. I probably know them from some plugin Discord. I don't know, but I've never heard of Fade Cloud, to be honest. I don't play a lot of servers these days. Oh yeah, coding. I remember that person. Coding or Kodik? I don't know. Coding. Yeah. You and I are in 4 other mutuals as well. Cortex being one of them. I'm pretty active in Cortex, so if you ever see me there. Cortex, and if you've ever heard of AstraPrison, that prison core, I was pretty active in there. I used to be a support member and helped Ed work on it as well. Dang, my restream.io page refreshed. Now all the chat's cleared for me. Nice, yeah. Yeah, I know a lot of people from prison core discords, just being in the prison scene. So I figured I'd make my own prison core, which is what I'm doing now. I can show you what I currently have done on it. See that? Okay. So I have this mine wand here. I can set my positions. Kind of like World Edit Wand. And I can fill region with, say, stone. And there we go. And then I can mine it all. And the significance of this is that these are all fake blocks. These are all client-side blocks right here. So if I was to disconnect and rejoin, you'll see they're all gone. So that's the main big part of my plugin. Yes, Taki, I'm live on Twitch as well. I believe my Twitch is in the description of the YouTube stream. If you want to go there instead of YouTube, you're welcome to. Okay. So yeah, that's the main feature of my Prison Core, is the packet mines. But yeah, right now I'm working on... Yeah, pretty much. The difference is many big prison servers that use packet mines, they also have the entire mine schematic being fake. So the entire mine schematic usually is like not real as well. So they can have different mines in the same place. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to have it so that whoever uses the plugin, they paste in their schematic like with real blocks. And then they just set the actual mine here to be fake blocks. And then set a spawn for the mine or whatever. And then whenever they teleport to the mine through my plugin, it'll fill with whatever blocks they have for that. I think I'm going to do like... I don't know how I'm going to do it, because there's like public mines and private mines, obviously. This is typically used for private mines, fake blocks. But I'm thinking I want to try and make the option for both public and private mines. But we'll have to see. Because right now all the fake blocks are stored per player. So if I change it to do public, we'll also have to do a system for that so that all players see the same blocks and whatnot. So maybe I won't do public right off the bat. Maybe I'll stick with private mines for now. I mean, many modern prison servers just do private mines anyways. So yeah, that's basically the extent of what I have for now. Besides this Omni tool here. And what an Omni tool is, if you don't know, it allows my tool here to change to a axe, pickaxe, and shovel, depending on which block you're mining, so that it still instantly breaks it if you have like efficiency or something. It just changes for the best tool for the job. Oh yeah, if I was to stand here without fly enabled, there you go, you get kicked for flying because the server doesn't see them as real blocks. So I'm gonna have to I don't think I can actually block that from packets. I think what people usually do is that they have real blocks here, so it's not just air in the mine, and then they have somehow they let the players just walk through the physical real blocks when they mine them on their end. But I think that's more work, to be honest. I mean, it's obviously more work, but I think it's a bit more complicated to do that. And I don't really see a point in that, but anyways. I also have this other non-enchanted Omni tool, so you can see mining with non-instant break works as well. And let's say Soap Touch. Let's enchant this with Soap Touch, right? Put all these in there. Yep, Soap Touch works as well. Yeah, and you can also just enable flight on your server in the server.properties, but that also gives way to allow players to fly with hacks outside of the mine, which probably isn't what most servers want. So I don't know. We'll just have to be like if they're in a mine, we'll just have to allow flight or something. I'm not sure. Also, I don't know if my voice is too loud with my mic so close to me. And I don't know how loud the music is, the background music as well. I mean, I can hear it the same volume that the stream can, so it's pretty quiet on my end. Autosell, yes, I will have autosell. I already have a module for it right here. I just have not gotten around to add it yet. And backpacks, I'll have backpacks as well. These are the two main things I've been working on before the menus. So what I want to do is I want to make the mine system first, and then we'll have auto sell after that, and backpacks and whatnot. Oops. Okay. So yes, quick requirement options. So what this is going to be is I guess it is an interface. It is going to be for our requirements. Specifically, we have our menu. We have our, I guess I could just go here. I don't need to open this. So we have our requirements here. What this interface is going to be used for is it'll be passed into the run method. It's going to be Boolean check player, and then it's going to be passed in like that. So whenever we check, we'll pass in the player and the options interface here. And this interface is going to have basically, it's going to allow you to get the specific options for that click requirement that is being ran. Let's say it has permission. It's going to allow you to get from the config from this starting point. So you could just say like get string type, and then it'll be like, there's the type, or like get string permission, and you have the permission. And this is only on the back end, so you don't have to worry about that. So whenever someone creates a click requirement, they could just use this to have specific options configurable for their, or whatever requirement they want to create. So that's what this is for right here. It's basically just a script config interface. So we'll say nullable for this, and we'll make another. So make that not null, and then we'll say list string default to return the default. And we'll also put a contract on this. So this contract here is saying, ignoring the first parameter, which is the key here, if the second parameter is not null, so if you don't pass null in for the default return value, then it won't return a null value, even though it's nullable. So this contract is saying if you pass a non-null value right here, then it'll return not null object, in which case you don't have to worry about it being nullable. Your IDE won't warn you about it. So then let's say not null with string, get string list, string key. And this will be default, so that way we'll just return get string list key, and then what is it, empty list, collections at empty list. There it is. I was blanking on collections. So there we go. This is a default method in this interface, meaning you don't have to override this. Its main purpose is to just return this method, but with a default value already passed in, which is just an empty list. And that means this will return not null, so this not null parameter right here works just fine. And so let's make this not null double, right? And then we'll also say final not null string key, and then final not null integer, or not integer, double default. And then again, we'll have a default double, get double, string key, and then we'll just return get double key and 0 is the default return value. Same thing here. Make that not null, and then integer defaults, right? Forgot to write that as default. There we go. Return get key 0 integer. Okay. And I could probably make a long for this, right? Long. But to be honest, I don't want to have a bunch of different methods for it's the same thing. Not null boolean, not null string key, not null boolean default, get boolean string key, and then we will return get boolean key false as the default value. All right, I want to say nullable string get string. And we'll do the same thing. Contract, since it's nullable. So that, okay. Not null, string get string key. Actually, I want this one to be nullable. Return get string key, and then null right there. So the default return value of get string is null, while the default for this one is whatever you pass in. Okay, object, nullable object. Null, not null, string key, contract, right? Right, final, nullable object default. Nullable there we go, and then contains. Let's just simply change this to that. There we go. So here's our interface. We have lots of different methods to get basic things from the config. Yeah. Let's add some Java docs here. So check if the requirement options contains this key, certain key, right? String key to check boolean. Let's make this not null boolean, just so that link actually makes sense here. Code true if it is indeed config, false if not, right? So that looks like this when we look at it in read mode. If you hover over it, you can see the Java docs down here. And then I want the same here. Get an object from the requirement in the config. Let's actually add some Java docs here as well. Used to get specific options from the config for a specific requirement. Yep, there you go. Okay, get an object key, string key for this object, and then default value turn. If the not contain the key object or null or not null default if it is not found in the config. Right, and then we'll say C like requirement options the object string key, right? Something here. Let's just copy this stuff. Don't need that. Don't need that. There we go. Make object or null if the key is not in the config. Let's say if the key is not in the config, then we will just copy paste this here. All right, and then we'll also say C okay object string object. So now when we read this stuff, read mode like this, you'll say get an object from the requirement in the config. Key is a string for this object. Key for this object. No, I didn't put a dash. Okay. So returns object or null if the key is not in the config. See also get object string object, which when you click on it, it'll bring you to the Java docs for that method. Object or default if the key is not config. Yep. Okay, and then same thing for string. So let's just copy this for string. A string from the requirement in the config, and then also link object and then link object here. Okay, and then string or default the string to return. Yep. And then I'll copy this one for the get string down here. Get a string. String or null the key's not found. Okay. And then we want the same formatting for each Java doc here. Get a boolean from the requirement in the config, string for this boolean, string. So default boolean to return, and then boolean or yep, and then we'll say an object boolean, link that. Sorry, not boolean, string. And we also need to get string. Right, I'm gonna change this to string. There we go. And this get string. There we go. Just make sure we keep that updated. And then copy this one for get boolean. Get a boolean. Yep. Boolean or false if the key is not in the config. Get boolean. Okay, there we go. Same thing for integer. I think I want to space these out a bit, just for readability's sake. So get int, let's just copy this again. Sure, there's 3 spaces, right? Integer get and integer. Key for this integer to return integer or yep. Get int string. Okay. Once again, copy paste. And integer or 0. Go. Okay. Another thing about autosell, since it's still, the question is still right in front of me. We'll have to decide if we want to hook into Volt and use that as a default currency for money if the user has Volt on their server, or I don't know, Treasury API, or I don't know, something. There's a lot of different things with currencies going around these days. And I also kind of want to make my own currency module where you can create any amount of currencies that you want. So we'll do that as well. So you can use either Volt for money, or you can make your own money currency in Astra or something. I don't know. We'll get to that when we do. But anyways, double now. It's double string. Get a double, right? Double. Yep. Is there like a... Nope. Okay. Just that. Get a double. Turn double or 0. Get double string. Here we go. Last but not least, string list stuff. Get a list string. Right, get a list string from the config. List string or collections empty list. List string or collections empty list if the key is not in the config. And then see also get string list, right? Get a list string from the requirement in the config. String, key for this string list. List double. I have not been changing that, have I? Right, there we go. Okay. Okay, and then obviously list. All right. Get string list, just like that. Okay, that should be everything. All the Java documentation done. Believe. Right, we're right here. All right, that's good. And with that class, or interface, I should say, code requirement has that passed in. All right. Okay. All right, okay. What next? What do we need to do next? Let's open up our common module here. And go to menus. Let's sort this out a bit, right? Actions, we'll have this in there. I don't click action command lines, I don't click actions. All right. And let's make another package here. Requirements, there we go. And then in our implementation of our API, we need to do this part. Get click requirement manager. Okay, I'm gonna go to our main class, and there we go. And now let's there we go. Okay, click requirement manager. And our interface from our API, we also need to fill that one out. So let's say abstract item click requirement. Streaming ID exists. So we'll check if it exists. We'll get it. It's gonna be nullable. Same thing as our click action manager right now. We need a register method. Abstract quick requirement. And we'll just call it requirement. Register an action to the to AstraPrison's click action manager instance. There we go. Okay, same thing here. There we go. Just like that. That's good. Exist. Copy this there. New requirements ID. Abstract item. Click requirement. That's good. Let's again remove this import. Get requirement. Don't have any Java docs for that. Requirements ID. Actions ID. Or if this ID does not exist, if this ID is not registered, we'd say C exists. Same thing here. And just copy it. Requirements ID. Requirement. There we go. Let's again remove these imports. There we go. Hello. Welcome in, Foggies. Yeah, I suppose I have been streaming for an hour and almost a half now. Not to worry though, it's obviously gonna be up on my YouTube for pretty much ever. If you missed yesterday's live stream, what we did is we fixed or we started work on our menus some more. So if I click on example here, if I open up the example menu, I click on it, you can see it actually does stuff now, depending on whatever we configure in the config for this menu. I have another menu as an example that I set up: fill region, stone, endstone, obsidian. Whenever I click on it, it'll make me run the /fill region command with that material. That's what we did yesterday. And right now we're working on click requirements. So whenever you try to click to run an action, it'll first check if you have a requirement for that click type before it runs it for you. So you can set it up so like, oh, they can't actually do this if they don't have this permission or something. What else do we have here? We had from string and remove from string. Okay, so this isn't going to be necessary for this part, so that's fine. Actually, let's see. Do I have like get action IDs? I don't think I did. List string get action IDs. That means we need to implement that method in our implemented version of our quick action manager. So we could say new array list actions dot key set. There we go. Simple as that. And we can also add some Java documentation for this. A list of all registered abstract item click action IDs. List string. There we go. Simple. Same thing here. We'll make a method for that as well. Get requirement IDs. You want it lowercase like that? I don't know. All registered click action requirement, not click action, click abstract click require item click requirement IDs. There you go. String list, sorry. String, there we go. All right. Cool. Now we need to actually implement all these methods in our actual implemented version of the Click Requirement Manager. Implement methods, there we go. Cool. So obviously we're gonna have a map string and then click abstract item click requirements. Requirements, there we go. We're gonna have a constructor, requirements, new hash map, there we go. So register, requirements, put if absent requirement, get ID requirement. And exist, return requirements contains key ID. You need to make all these parameters final because for some reason it doesn't automatically do that when you implement methods from an interface that does have final methods or parameters. So anyways, get requirement from the map, so return requirements that get our default ID and null if it's not on the map, and we will return a list of requirement IDs. So new array list requirements dot key set, just like that. And all these methods have the Java docs from the interface here as well, so we don't have to redo these Java documentations. Okay, that is all of that, but what we didn't do is in our abstract click requirement class, we didn't have its own register method like we did for the abstract item click action. So we can go ahead and copy this over and then paste it here. And it's a final method. That means any requirements people make by extending this class will not be able to override this method. So first we get our API instance from our plugin. And then now we say click requirement manager, get click requirement manager from our API. And then we say if it's not null, then we register this requirement. So now people can just, whenever they call new on their cook requirement, they could just call register on it and not have to interact or not have to get the manager. But they can do that as well. But, you know, it's just simpler to just call register on this than getting the manager all over again, because they'd have to check if the API is null, check if the manager's null, all that stuff. So, but this method just does it for them. Let's make some Java documentation for this. Register your click action to the click action manager. AstraPrison's instance, right? And then we'll say get the ID for this item click action string, right? And then we'll say run the abstract click requirement for the specified player with the specified arguments player, and then item click action args, right? Okay, that's good. And then back here we can again copy this, paste it there, abstract item click requirement, click requirement manager, requirement, and then obviously we will copy this one, and then we'll have to change more of it because we don't have a item click action args instead of options. Requirement options. Run the requirement checks for the specific player with the specific options from config. And then we also need a turn boolean code true, they meet the requirements, false if not. There you go. Cool. Simple. Alright, cool. So that's done. This now has Java documentation as well. Cool. And now we have our implementation here, which doesn't require, I think, anything more than this. So I think we're done with this as well. Let's go ahead and close our API or minimize it, and add some click requirements, just like we did with our actions. We added console command, message, and player command. So let's go ahead and add like a permission requirement. Permission click requirement. And then refactor these to just remove item from it. Okay. These, yeah. Permission click requirement. We'll make this a final class so that nobody can extend this specific click requirement. And this will extend abstract item click requirement. And then we will implement the check method and construct a matching constructor. So we don't need the parameter here since we already know the ID. Let's just say has permission like that. And then actually we can, yeah, we'll keep it like that. All right, check. So what do we do here? This is very simple. We say options get string. The key will just be permission, and then null if it's not in there. String permission, and then we'll say if permission equals null, then we'll return false. And then we'll say return player has permission, just like that. And that's all it takes for this. We're done with this permission requirement check. So we'll do that, and then we'll go back here, and in our constructor for our manager, just like in here, we'll make our default requirements list or set, and then register them in the constructor. So private final not null set abstract requirement defaults click requirements static default click requirements. Oh, I need to make this static. There we go. Default click requirements equals set dot of, and then we'll set new permission click requirement just like that. And then down here we'll say default click requirements for each. Say this register just like that. So now it'll call this register method down here instead of calling the register method from the abstract version here. That way it doesn't have to get the API and it doesn't have to get the manager, because that wouldn't make sense. You know, we're already in the manager. You don't need to get it. So okay, we're done for now, until we add more click requirements and stuff to add to this list. Okay. I think that's everything. We need to also implement the click requirement options. We'll go here, we'll say click requirement options, and then we'll say implements click requirement options. Say this here, yep. All right, here's the deal. I don't want to have to read from the config every time we check if they have the requirement from it. So what I'm going to do instead is make a hash map string object, right? And then the string will be the key from the config, and the object will be the value from it. Let's say options, and then click requirement options, string key, not null string, YAML config, sorry, config, and then key. Okay. Options, new hash map, just like that. Okay, so how do we determine what options it have? I think what we'll do is say the key will be the specific requirement. So like, let's go to our example config here. So the key that we pass in will be contents dot example dash item dot click dash requirements dot left or whatever other click type, and then dot one or whatever group it's in, and then it'll be this key right here. So contents.example item dot click requirements dot left dot one dot as permission, and then we'll loop through this right here, and then for each key under this we will add that key to the map with its value. So all we need to do is say first off, if key ends with dot, and we just say key plus equals dot, like that. We'll put this up there, and then we'll say big options get configuration section key. We'll return oh wait, what? No. Might evaluate to null, but is assigned to a variable that is annotated with not null. That doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense at all. This is not null. So it's not null. So why is it saying that this could be null? This has literally never happened before in any of my other code. I'm missing something. What am I missing? Let's see. Right? Options get configuration section. Is it because key is null? Or, no. They're both annotated, not null, right? So neither of them can be null. That means options can't be null at this point because it is file configuration is set in the reload method, which is automatically called in its constructor. So what if I said not null and then no? Okay, this is weird. Why is it doing this? That doesn't make any sense. Yeah, this is not null. So okay, let me check something else. Message not null config options here. Doesn't complain here. Come on. Section. Yeah, doesn't complain here. So why are you complaining about it in the other class? Doesn't make any sense to me. What if I said, nope. It's no problem. Okay, well, I don't know why this is complaining. Because this is not null. The config is not null. This shouldn't be null. It's not annotated as nullable, so it's not supposed to warn me about that. Oh, it's because this is not null. And it can be null. I don't... Okay, I'm blind. Sorry, guys. Anyways, moving on. section, get keys false for each key. Options put key config options get key. There we go. We need to rename this actually to option or something. There you go. So now when this first requirement is loaded, it will load it from the config, and then it won't load it from the config any other time. So contains key will say options contains key key. Get object return options get or default key default. Get string options get our default key. That's a problem, isn't it? Okay, so we'll say if options contains key return def, right? Well, now we'll say final object key null, right? We can actually just put this up here, and we'll say if object is null, then return default, otherwise return object.toString, like that. Okay, and then same thing kind of as this to okay, let's say boolean parse boolean object toString. All right, well, this isn't very fun here. We want to say obviously this is true, but this could return something different. So try return catch. This will throw a, well, boolean return represents value true if the string argument is not null and is equal to the string true. Otherwise, a false value is returned, including for a null argument. Okay, so never mind. This one's fine. It will return false if this is not an actual boolean format, true or false. An integer. Thing with this one is this one will have to have a try statement. Number format exception e integer parse int object toString, right? Then turn default if it does not, if the string is not an integer. And then now we will do this. Double parse double. There we go. String list. All right. So actually, I think we can say if object is instance of boolean. So we can say if then just return bool. Yeah, I think we could do that instead of all this stuff. This should work. And instead, let me not invert it because we don't need to invert it. Return bool and then return defaults, obviously. You know what we could probably do, take this even further, return object instance of boolean bool. If it is, and return bool, otherwise we return default. There we go, that's easier. Turn object instance of integer I, turn I, otherwise return default. Same thing down here. Double I. Right, okay. If object instance of list return as, I don't know, say list return list, otherwise, yeah, so you can't do that. So obviously list string to do that, right? What we could do is go add our list utils here and make a method for this. No, list string to string list list, and we can say list t input. So t is a generic for this method, so it doesn't matter which type of list we put in. We are simply going to say list string parsed new array list, right? And then input for each I, and we'll say parsed add I to string, and then we'll return parsed, just like that. Easy. We'll say list utils dot convert to string list. There we go. Just like that. And then, okay. Now, what is it? Return default. Yeah. I don't know. I think that should be fine. Actually, we should say if object is null, then return default. Otherwise, return new array list, collections, singleton list, object to string, like that. There we go. And this will instance of also checks if object is null. So if it's null, then it's not an instance of list. So it'll ignore this, and then it'll go onto this. So if it's null, then it'll return default. All right, this is good. Good implementation for this. I think we can call this done. So yeah. Yep. Okay, close that. Okay. All right. We still have a bit to do though. Okay. So menu item. We need to store our click requirements in here. We'll just say string for now. Item click requirements, and we'll move it up above the actions because this gets checked before it runs the actions. Okay, so obviously we're gonna replace string with something. We need to make another class here, just like we did for this map yesterday. Item click actions is a class that has a map of string, which is the action ID, and then it has another custom class in here which stores the command lines for every the one same action ID that is being configured and ran. So that's sort of what we need to do. We need to make another class here for requirements, just to have restore that, right? So we'll say item click requirements, just like this one. Item click requirements. There we go. Nope. All right. Make this final. Okay. So item click requirements. How are we storing these? That's another question. So, public item click requirements. So we have, for example, YAML layer, click requirements, the click type, which we are already determining in the menu item here. We're storing the click requirements per click type. So yes, and then so we have that, and then we have a group. So we need a group. So requirements, click requirement group. So now the group will have different click requirements. Yes, different click requirements. So that means we need a list of strings. No. Maybe okay, what do we want to do here? I think what we need is a map, right? String for the click requirement ID. And then we'll need another class for to store multiple different types of that requirement type ID, right? So this is this is not this, but it's this. I think makes sense. Okay. I don't know. Public click requirement group. Okay, so obviously we're saying menu item, we're storing them per click type, item click requirements. Now this class is going to be storing all the groups for that click type. So that means we need a list of click requirement groups. Right, and then the groups are storing more individual requirements. Hello, welcome in, Andre. I hope I said your name right. Okay, yeah. So the group will have individual requirements in them. Problem is we're going to be storing them by the requirement ID here, not this. We don't care about this, I don't think. So yes, that means we need another class. Requirement what do we want to call it? Maybe just Maybe just click requirement. I don't know. We don't have any other class click requirement, so that's fine. Make this final as well. So this click requirement class will store the different configurations for each requirement. So we need a list of item click requirement option, click requirement options. There we go. Requirement options. Public click requirement. So we'll actually refactor this to add an S there and make it plural. Okay, so now we go down the line. So the requirement options. We need, what do we need? We need the YAML config. We need the string. We need the key for the requirement group that we're in. Right, I need the, here we go. So we have the group key here. That means we're currently at here. So now we need to loop through this. So with a section. Get configuration section key. And we'll make this final. Did I mess up something? I think I might have made something I didn't want to make. What did I do? Where was it at? I just made a key somewhere. Right? Huh. Oh, was it right here? No. Wait, yeah. I don't want to have that at the front because then it won't get the section properly. I want is to have it here, I believe. Or no. Key plus option. That's what I want. Final string K equals key ends with dot question mark key and then otherwise key plus dot. And then we will use K there and make this final. The reason I did this is because you can't have a non-final variable used inside of a for each loop that's defined outside of the for each loop. So K plus option. There we go. Okay. Right, so we were on here. So this is the deepest level. The group is the second deepest, and this is the non-deepest. I don't know. Okay, so we're gonna be going down the line here. If section, no, I'm gonna throw new null pointer exception. No requirements in this group. And that way I will say throws null pointer exception up there. That way I can catch this in the class above and not have to loop through all this stuff. Or I won't have to keep this class and store it in here. So if this throws a null pointer exception, I don't have to put it in this map, which will just waste space. Requirement ID. Okay. So we are currently, this key here is currently right here, which is where we want it to be. However, now we just need to make an option for this to get them down here. Right, and these are already being stored by the actual action ID or type here. So we don't need to worry about that. We just say requirement options dot add new options config, and the key is simply say string k equals key ends with .yml, not .yml, just dot. If it does, then it's key, otherwise it's key plus dot, and then we'll say k plus requirement ID. There we go. Okay, cool. Nope. All right. Don't do that. Nope, don't do that. All right. Now I gotta deal with that guy. All right, hold on a second, everyone. Get a weirdo YouTube chatter. Believe I can just. All right, let's just go to my. Believe I can remove it from here. Okay, good. It's already deleted. Thanks for the subscription, but you're not welcome in my chat. Especially not like that. That's weird, buddy. That's weird, pal. Alright, anyways, ignoring that, since we don't care about that person, let's continue on. So we have our options already being loaded now into this list. Now we will go back up a level. And now what do we need for the group? We need the config, obviously. Config, and then we need the key for the group right here. So we'll say config options get configuration section key. This is just a lot of looping. Keys false for each group ID. Right, and then obviously we'll say we will throw another null pointer exception here. New null pointer exception. We'll say group has no section, which shouldn't be null since we are going to be looping through that to find the section anyways. Let's actually go back down to the just this one, and move this definition of requirement options down below the null check as well. Now we'll say final string k, key ends with dot question mark key, otherwise key plus dot. Alright, and now we're going to do the same thing we just did in the click requirements class, pretty much. Except we're going to be making the click requirements. So, and we also need the type of action. So I'm also going to say we're going to get our click requirement manager. Okay, wait, did I? Okay, yeah, I did this. We don't want to do this. I'm going to fix this up first before we move on, before we continue. Because this is pointless. I just realized I'm getting the API and I'm getting the click action manager. We don't need to do that. We're not in our API module. We're in our common module, which has the implementations of the click action manager and the requirement manager. So I don't need to do that. All I need to do is go here and say a static instance, right? Say private static click action manager implementation instance. Public static action manager impl get instance turn instance. Yep. Furthermore, we can make this private, and then we could say if instance is null, then instance equals new click action manager implementation. There we go. Now I just made this a singleton. If you don't know what a singleton is, it means you can only have one instance of it, and you can't call new on it. So yeah, we don't need this now. Same thing for the requirement manager. Manager here. I have a static click requirement manager instance. Make this right here, make this private. And then we'll say public static click requirement manager get instance. If instance is null, instance equals new. There you go. Turn instance. Perfect. It's good. And now we can just say close that, close that. Go back to our main class because now this is null. We don't need these variables there. All we need to do is say get instance instead of calling new on it, right? And then now, instead of going down here and returning the variables that we just returned, we could say click action manager impl get instance, and then click action click requirement manager get instance. There we go. Easy. Now we can go back to our click actions here, and we could just remove this since we don't need that at all. We need to say click action manager get instance that exists action ID. Right, and same thing down here. Don't need this. Final click action. There we go. Easy. Don't need to mess with our API in our own plugin. Don't need to call our API just to call our plugin while we're in the plugin. So there we go. Oversight on my part from yesterday. But to be fair, I was a bit tired yesterday. Plus, there were rowdy children being loud just outside my room. So, yeah. Could not think straight very well yesterday during the stream. Okay, anyways, now we can go on to do this stuff. So we'll say group ID, and then we need the type. So string requirement ID equals, no, final click requirement manager, click requirement manager, get instance, yep, and then exists, so now we'll say config options get string k plus group ID plus dot type, and we'll say null. If requirement type is null, then we will return, and we'll also say, or if it does not exist, then return. That way we're not going to store that, we're not going to do anything else with that group ID, or rather, no. This is the requirement. The group should be the key, since that's the section we're getting. Group has no section, yep, that's fine. Alright. Okay. So if it does exist, then we will say requirements put if absent requirement new item click requirements. No, click requirements. And then instead of passing it in, instead of doing it all here, void add click requirement option. We'll do that, and then we'll say this stuff here. And we will say that this one, this method, instead throws the no blanker exception. Again, remove that. Okay. Then we'll say requirements get requirement requirement type dot add requirement options config, and the key is k plus requirement. There we go. Yes. Okay, and then what else is it? I think that's it, actually. So it'll only put the new click requirements in for that requirement type if it's not already in there. That way we can just say get the requirement type and then add click actions to the list. Although we can say try catch null pointer exception e, and then just return. Actually we could just say ignored, because we don't need to do anything except move on to the next iteration. Right. So throws no pointer exceptions, that should be fine. Okay. Okay, let's say public boolean is empty, return requirement options is empty. Okay, we'll say if it's empty, we'll loop through, no, if we loop through it, that won't really make sense, right? We'll say set string to remove new hash set. Then we'll loop through it. Requirements for each string requirements, no, options. If options is empty, to remove add string. No, this is requirement type. Yep. So then to remove for each requirement type, we'll say requirements remove requirement type. And then this is, we can simplify that. There we go. There we go. Now we're definitely only storing requirements that have actual stuff configured for them. Just making sure. All right. So that's done. The group, and then the groups here. Let's say does throw a null pointer exception. And we'll say if requirements is empty, throw new null pointer exception, has no configured requirements. Group has no configured requirements. There we go. And if that's the case, then we won't store it in this list. Which I can also probably make this a set, to be fair, as well. This is a map, and then click requirements. This can also be a set. Set of a list. That means it's unordered. We can't get it by index, but we don't need to since we're going to be looping through it. Pretty much the only thing we're going to be doing with it. Okay, requirement groups. So now in here we are currently up a level. We are on left, so we need to loop through this configuration section to get each group, which would be 1 and 2 respectively. All right, we'll say throws null pointer exception, right? So we'll say we need the config and then final null string key, right? Final section equals config get configuration section key. If section's null, then throw null pointer exception. Click type has no groups. There we go. And we'll just return that. Right. Section get keys false for each group ID. Okay. So now we have our groups. Requirement groups dot put add new requirement group config, and then the key is string k equals key ends with dot you know what, this, I think that's kind of pointless, to be honest. You just add key plus dot plus group ID. All right, let's do the same thing down here. We don't need this. There we go. Same thing down here, plus dot plus requirement. Okay, and then hello, welcome in, welcome in. There we go. Simpler. All right, now we have our groups and everything. We can actually say try catch null pointer exception ignored. Hopefully that should not add it to the set if it throws a null pointer exception. And I believe that's it. We just need to once we're done with this, we need to go back to menu item, and now we need to load them for that item. It's just the same thing down here pretty much. So if click type, we're already looping through our click types, so we're good there. We'll say if it contains key, and then we'll move all this stuff into here, and then we'll say if config options contains key plus click requirements dot plus click type get key. Then we will continue. So now we're just loading the click requirements, right? Actually, perhaps we should do this above. So let's actually keep that how that was. Then we'll say if config options contains key plus click dash requirements dot plus click type get key. Now we will load in our stuff here. All right. So we'll say new. What are we storing exactly? Item click requirements. So this is the config and the key. It was passing config. We say key plus click requirements plus click type get key. So this is our item click requirements. This one takes in the click type, which isn't necessary, I don't think. Because we're not storing the click type anywhere. Let's just say key. And then remove the parameter. Okay, whatever. And it has no options. All right, there we go. And then down here we will say dot plus click type dot get key, and then remove that parameter there. Perfect. And now we need to do, basically just need to say item click requirements try click requirements equals, and then we'll say catch null pointer exception e. Okay, here's the thing, we need to only add it if it does work, so we need to do that in here as well. Final. We can do that, make it not as long. Then we could say item, click requirements, put, click type, click requirements. There we go. Perfect. Now they're all loaded for that item. Yeah. How long have I been streaming? 2.5 hours? It's not too long. Thank you. Yeah, I am interested in that, actually. I've made a couple of tutorials already before. I did a recent stream where I went over the basics of Spigot API and transitioning to the basics of Paper API as well. And I'm looking to do more tutorials. I just need suggestions and whatnot, but yeah. Anyways. Yeah, just feel free to suggest anything either on that paper development tutorial live stream that I did or in my Discord server that you're in. But yeah, I have a paper tutorial playlist on my channel as well, on my YouTube, that has the one stream that I did for it as well. And all the tutorials I feel like doing, I'm gonna live stream as well for that, just for more interaction in chat in case someone has questions or something. That's the plan anyways. Okay, so just like the click actions, we need to add this stuff for the click requirements. Yeah. Okay. Another thing, we loaded all of our click requirement stuff in, but we didn't do anything if they have actions. So like if they click on the item and they don't meet the requirement, I want to be able to run the specific actions that requirement says in the config to be like, hey, you don't have permission for this or something. So yeah, let's see. We want to do that. So we need to go into our click requirements, our requirement group. Remember, our group has our all of these stored under this group here, and that has the type stored here as the key for this map, and the click requirement is what actually is storing all this stuff for the group. It's basically storing each one of these in the category of the type that it is. And then we need to, yes, okay, we need to set up individual actions, right? For each individual requirement, not just the group or anything like that. So down here, I need to do that somewhere. Probably right here, right? But I don't want to store them in the click requirement options. So once again, I think we need to go another level deep. Quick requirement actions. Requirement actions. Right. It's final. Okay, now this will have the set of options. And it might actually need to be a map. So click requirement options and then click action item, click actions. because we have the command lines, but we also have the actions, which stores the command lines that we made yesterday. So we're going to use what we made yesterday in the requirement stuff that we're making today. Right, okay, so at this point, we also need to replace a set with requirement actions instead of options. So we're going to say, we're going to pass in config and the requirement ID, new requirement actions, config, requirement ID. We actually need the key, what was it? Key plus dot, and then requirement ID. So that means we need to pass this into here. Final no string key. Okay. So this is the actual key. So click requirement options. And this one we pass in the key and then the key plus. I think that's it actually. We already have the key. It takes the key for the requirement that we're on, and then it takes in the options there. Again, I'm gonna remove this and just have key plus space period, whatever. Okay, so we have the options now. Does this, it does not throw null pointer exception, so we're fine with that. And then we need to say, what is it? We need to get the item click actions. And to do that, we can pass in the config and the key for the actions. Oh boy, okay. We don't okay, yeah, so we don't need the click type in here, which it doesn't have, which is good. Because we already have that. So all I need to do is pass in config key plus dot actions, just like that. And it should be good to go. So we'll say final, and then requirement options, put options, actions, right? There we go. This should be good enough. The actions are linked to the options, which is all being stored in together. Okay, I think we're good to go. Menu item. Okay, now let's add the requirement stuff into our actual menu item here. Right. Okay, so we need to say get item click actions, get another get, but except for the click type specifically, and then add and add, right? So we'll paste this in below. Get item click requirements. Item click requirements. There you go. Yeah, item click requirements for the click type. Default Oh, this one. There we go. Add click requirements. No, this needs a config and a key. So we're gonna make just another constructor, which would have requirement groups, new hash map, and then we'll have public void add config, not no string key, in which case we will have this stuff right there. We'll say rows null pointer exception. There we go. Okay, you know what? Let's just ignore this for now. Let's say get click requirements. Actions is important to be able to add for paginated items, at least. You know what? Okay, let's just see. So we're no longer just adding a list of actions or strings. Instead, we are adding. What are we adding to this? A group, right? So, okay. Okay, well, these requirements are purely configurable, basically, is what's going on. So I don't want to add them manually. Not right now. It's fine. We can have this just be we could just have this map be the configurable requirements, and then we can make another thing, right, for our requirement actions. We just have a set of that, right? So this will be used for our manually adding through code. Item add click requirements. Add so we have a config and key, but we want instead what do we want? String. Okay. All right. Okay. We'll have to revisit this. I'll think of a way to do it off stream or something. I just don't want to deal with that right now. It's a lot. Just want to get done with this for right now. It's never assigned. Item, click requirements, new Astra. There we go. And then, yeah. Cool. So our click requirements are loaded. Now we have to have a way to actually check and call them. So that'll be done in our listener. We have our menu and whatever. Our Astra menu, we need to say like check can run click or whatever, check requirements. Yeah, public boolean check requirements player item ID, and then click type. So we're gonna say this here. Return true if the item does not exist in the map, right? Yet item click requirements for the click type. This returns our item click requirements. And this can be null. So we want to check null on that. And then return true. So they have permission because there are no requirements. Okay, and then we want to say click requirements dot check layer. And then we can go here, say public boolean check layer, so like that. We'd say return check there, right? Then our check in here, say requirement groups for each. So group. We actually can't use a for each on this. We need to say for final click requirement group grouped equals requirement groups. Return false by default. So our group, we say if group check player return true, right? Because it's actually it's not that. If not group check, then return false. And then down here, return true. So loop through, if one group, if they don't have permission from one, or they don't meet the requirements of one group, then we return false because they need to return, they need to meet the requirements of every group. The thing is that it is, no, I did that right the first time. It's or, the groups are or. They need to either meet group 1's or group 2's permissions or requirements. So if group is true, then return true, return false, otherwise. Okay. So now the group, we can go down here and say check for that. Check, no, player, right? Map, string, click requirements. So this should be the ID of the click requirement, right? Yeah. Requirement, no, we say Yep. String requirement type entry get key. Entry get value. Okay. Okay, so now we can say, now we need to get the ID from this, right? So we know that it exists, so we already checked it before we added it to this map. So we say abstract item click requirement equals requirement manager get instance get requirement type. There we go. Say they need to meet every requirement in this list. So that means we go back here, we say if requirement check player click requirement dot say, all right, you know what we're gonna do? We're should say click requirements check player return false, otherwise return true. Now we need to go another layer in public boolean player, right? So we have our requirement actions, and this has our options and our actions to run. However, okay, but what we don't have is the ID for this here, so I'm gonna have to say no string. You know what, we could just pass it in. Click requirement equals requirement manager get requirement ID. Shouldn't be null, but if it is, we could just check. Turn true. Okay, and we could say requirement options for each. There are 4 requirement option. Requirement actions. Yeah. Okay. We'll say if requirement dot check player requirement actions dot oh boy this is getting kind of confusing, isn't it? Requirement actions has the options linked to the actions, which I don't think we need. We don't need a map here. There's options and the click actions, requirement options, and click actions, right? Now we can, it's not private, so that's fine. We could just go here and say, there. So if they meet it, then they don't meet it, actually, I should say requirement actions dot click actions dot later. And I believe we could say return false. Yeah. I think that should do it. We just need to get the click actions and have a run method in here. Alright. This has the ID and the command lines. Click actions. Mission ID, command lines. Okay. Right. No, abstract item action equals, what should we call it? Action manager, get instance, get action ID. We should say I think to say manager if actions null, which it shouldn't be, and just return an action run for command lines for each action run player command line. Nope, new args command line. There we go. Now this is good. We can, I believe, go back to our Astra menu. And we could just simply say, actions dot run player, and then get rid of this. Just what the run method does. Okay, and then we can get rid of this stuff because again we already have the API. We don't need the API actually. That's what I meant to say. There we go. Cool. Now let's say that should be everything actually. So it'll run whatever. Okay. Let's just what does this need? Say the requirement ID. Should be the key, right? Just say that. All right. I think that's good. I think everything's good. I'm hoping it's it's kind of messy, but if you want to start learning to make plugins, it's definitely helpful to know Java. But me personally, I didn't know Java when I started making plugins. I kind of learned Java as I was learning to make plugins and just went on, you know? So, I mean, if you think you're able to learn Java while making plugins, which is totally doable since, you know, I did it, then you could do that. Or you could just try to learn some Java basics. Okay, menu listener. Down here. check requirements, player, item ID, menu click type. You don't have the requirements met, then return. This should already run the actions for the requirements as well. Let's actually say this. So we'll run any, then we'll also check for any. So they need to meet the requirements for any click type before they get ran. Let's actually just run it like that. So if they do meet the requirements, then that. Daily dose of internet guy. Interesting. I don't think my voice is like. He's definitely got like a. I don't know. I feel like his voice is a little tiny bit higher pitch. I'm not sure. I mean, obviously, I don't know how I sound to you guys, because everybody's voice sounds different from somebody else, right? You never hear what other people hear. That's what I mean to say. Okay, well, I think that's it. I don't know. Let's just run it and see what happens, because that's just part of the process. This could totally not work at all, and then we'll have to spend a long time fixing it. Or it could potentially work. I don't know. Left. And then we'll say 1, and then we'll say is permission. Type has permission, and then permission is equal to example, and then say actions. You don't have the permission to click this item. All right, we will see how this works. Right? Let's reformat this properly. There we go. For region. Maybe I should start putting chat on screen. I just don't like to do that because of what happened earlier. Is a prime example. Some guy in the YouTube chat randomly put his phone number or someone's phone number in the chat, so I had to delete it. That's a reason I don't like putting it on screen, because if it's on screen, it'll stay there until I delete it, but it'll still, like, you know, still be on screen for a certain amount of time. I don't know. I'd just rather not. The only thing is that the YouTube chat does get saved after like a day of the after a day after the stream ends, it reappears on YouTube. And Twitch chat doesn't, because I don't have any VODs for that or anything like that. Twitch VODs don't save anywhere. I believe I already built it and all that. Yeah. Alright, let's see what happens. This could totally not work at all, like I said, so. Okay, well, no errors, so that's good. Let's open up our example menu, and I probably have that permission, so it might not do anything. Although, it also didn't run my message. So something happened, right? Get a default item ID null. Click type if it's null, meaning it doesn't have that click type. Which it shouldn't, because I didn't have any defined. So let's just log it out, of course. Does not meet any requirements. And then we'll say does not meet many click type requirements. Right, and it has to be pausing at one of these because it's not running the actions there. You know, better PC. For what? Just coding or streaming? This coding doesn't take that much resources. That's for sure. Not mean left click type requirements. Okay, so I don't meet the requirements, but it didn't run the action. So, and let's say permission set Astra example true. So explicitly set it to true. I still did not meet it, so that's a problem. Let's follow this method here. Let me be honest, I wish I knew all the different PC hardware to determine what's good and what's not just by reading the name, but I have no idea. Server without plugins? I see. To be fair, you could rent a server online for cheaper than getting a whole new PC. But I don't know how building a plugin would be for you. I mean, it doesn't take long, especially if you built it before, but I don't know. I'm sure you can make do. Also, it might depend. I mean, I suppose so. It also might depend on which server hardware you're using, or software, I mean. Because I use paper. It's much more optimized than Spigot. And I also disable the nether and the end from loading. So it doesn't have to waste time loading those other two worlds. So I only load the overworld. Right. I don't know about Purper. It's supposed to be good for SMPs, but I heard that there's a lot of like bloat, possibly, or something. I don't know. I think I used Purper on an SMP me and my friends released a while ago. Right, okay, let's follow this method here. So it's not returning true. So it's something in here. Group.check, right? So let's say looping through groups. So group.check, right? Checking group. Purper does? Interesting. I don't know. So then we could check this, let's just say click requirement group. And then we'll go into here, click requirements. Checking requirement is null. That would return true. So looping through requirement actions. Running actions due to requirements not met. Okay. Check. That's just abstract. Right, because that's a requirement. Checking. Requirement dot requirement. There we go. Cool. You know, when I started live streaming coding, I never imagined that that I'd actually get as much chatters as I have been getting, which is always grateful for. So it's just interesting seeing that people are actually interested in it. For example, okay, does not meet left click requirements. Okay, well, obviously we didn't even make it very far. We didn't get another message. Did I even update the plugin? I did. Yeah. Okay, so then log. There's no, right? And then click requirements are null. But again, if these are null, then that means they return true, which means there's something in here. I think it's just saying that there's nothing in this map, since it didn't even do this, right? Size requirement groups dot size. Okay, let's do that. That should definitely print something out. Cool. Welcome in, Alvarin. I guess you've been lurking. Teams plugin. Are you in Cortex? Because I think I remember someone working on a Teams like plugin in there. I think I also recognize your username from there too. So okay, cool. Well, I'm glad you were able to find my streams from there. I assume that you found my stream today on YouTube as well, and then saw the Twitch link or something, right? In the description. That's what I assume, at least. Like size 0. Yep. Yeah, that's cool. That's just click requirements are null as well. Why does it say click requirements are null? Oh, that's because I did any. I'm also checking any. Okay, so yeah, it doesn't have any groups in the map, so that's why it's not running anything. It means 1 is not recognized. So that means we need to go and log log this, right? Turn group ID. Well, yeah, anyways, thank you for coming over to Twitch. Obviously, I prioritize YouTube a bit more than Twitch, personally, because I mean, I like Twitch chat, you know, I like its features and whatnot, and all the little things you could do, like the channel points or whatever, and obviously the subbing, but I don't like that my VODs aren't permanently saved, so that's why I prioritize YouTube, because all my VODs are over there. I don't have to record them while I stream just to post them on YouTube or something. Obviously, if I continue to dual stream, I could set up all that channel stuff on Twitch, which I probably will if I ever get the whatever, you know. But yeah, it's whatever. Either platform, I guess it's your decision. Yeah, I prefer YouTube streams because I have many different ways to avoid ads on YouTube. Meanwhile, Twitch is just a barrage of ads in most YouTube or in most streams. Either you have to watch an ad at the beginning or you have to watch mid-rolls in most cases. Unless you directly like sub to that user or you pay for their turbo or whatever. So that's why I don't usually like to watch on Twitch, because I don't have any way to avoid the ads on it. That's fair. Yeah, there isn't like a coding category on Twitch. I mean, there is, but it's not like a general coding or like there's no Minecraft coding category, so I'm just in Minecraft. Let me actually, now that you mention it, let me modify the current live stream on YouTube to add in the tags and whatnot. Because with Restream, I can't just have the tags already set up for the stream. So I'm going to do that real quick. If it will let me. Sure. Right. Minecraft, Spigot, paper, coding, programming. What else is it? Java. Prison. Plugin. Could use soccer in game development? No. What do you mean? Oh, you mean, the category? Possibly? I don't know. There's the game at language. Let's see, where category, entertainment, no. Gaming, game, Minecraft. That's what I said in restream. Okay, saved. Yes, I know YouTube, the stream on YouTube is lower than the recommended bitrate, but I need 6,000 bitrate because Twitch doesn't allow anything higher for some reason. So, yep. Hopefully me editing the stream on YouTube didn't mess anything up there from restream, because restream is annoying, forcing their branding in your description until you end the stream. Okay, well, we have, let's go back here, there we go. Sure, yeah, that makes sense. It is annoying though. YouTube is just, I guess YouTube just has way more money. I mean, it makes sense because it's Google and all that. But also, Twitch is Amazon. I don't know, it's two big companies, so that's whatever. Okay, right. We need to test this out with this logging. As long as my stream on YouTube isn't like isn't low quality, I don't really care if it's below the recommended bitrate for YouTube. I mean, it's not low quality on Twitch, I believe, right? I try to stream in 1440 60 FPS with non-fuzzy screen, so you can actually see the words I'm typing out. Also, I do stream games every now and then. I've streamed Minecraft a couple times, then Modded World twice. Did No Man's Sky. Interesting. Yeah, I've done some game streams. If you're interested, I've been wanting to, stream Dredge, that game, because I've never played it before. That could be fun, I think. Or more No Man's Sky, since I still haven't played very much of it. So, looping through groups. Okay, so we didn't even get over to here. Looping through groups. So again, we don't have... Oh, you know what? It must have been up here. Logging. Trying group ID 1, right? So then what happened? Group add null pointer exception. So this must have been what happened here. So it didn't add it. Click requirement group. Key. Let's just print out the key, make sure it works. Section is null. log looping through section keys. Requirement ID. Requirement type. Oh, you know what? It might be because it has permission when I think the permission requirement I made is just permission, not has permission. So that could have just been the problem right there. Let's just build it and test that out. Or actually, we can just say Astra reload. No, okay. Trying group ID 1. Alright, so it tries it again. Okay, well, let's see, what is our permission requirement? Oh, it has permission, so I was right. But that wasn't a problem. Yeah, that means something down here isn't working, right? We'll say whatever. Content stone. Click dash requirement. Dot left dot one. Yep. Permission. Loop, no pointer exception. Okay, so that's the problem. It's here an add option. Right, and then okay. This is getting a little out of hand. Is it because the key is just key dot requirement? Key dot requirement, and then okay, we'll check what the key is. We'll just see. I don't feel like following it. Actually, let's check up here first. Content stone, click requirements, left one permission. Oh, yeah. That's about right. Stone, click requirements, left one permission. Okay, yep. But then here we have requirement ID again, so we don't need that. Right, is that correct? So no, it didn't run this. Oh, because we check if it's empty and then we, okay, yeah. So it's because this, I think, didn't have the right key. That's not what I wanted. Okay. Let's go up. Okay, yeah, so it didn't say null pointer exception that time. Moving through groups. Okay, well now that we have all this, let's remove all of our logging from each class now, and then we will do another thing of logging. Oh yeah, checking has permission requirement. So once again, let's just get all this out of the way because I don't want to. It's currently hindering my debugging, not helping. Okay. Once again, let's follow this through, right? So we already know. Okay, wait, maybe this is why, because I don't meet any, right? And it returns, so I need to meet. No, this should be true. Then run click actions. Checking any click requirements. checking running checking. There we go. All right, so that's good. We'll know this is true if this is logged, and we'll know this is false if this is not logged. Right? Check requirements, and then it checks the requirements for the item that it gets. It looks through the groups. So if group.check is true, then it'll return true. It'll stop looping through because you'll need to meet one of the group's requirements for it to work. And then in here, you're looping through these. And it's an OR. So if one of them isn't met, or this is an AND. So if one of them isn't met, then none of them are met, basically. Let's just say Astra.log checking entry get key requirement does not meet requirement, turning false. Okay, that should do it for our logging. Checking has permission requirement. But net has permission requirement. So I met it, right? Right. Let me fix that logging. There we go. So wait, it says running left click actions. So it did work. But okay, I think actions.run is okay. Let me purposely make myself not have the permission. Oh, there we go. There we go. Does not have permission. Send me the message. So it works if I don't meet the permission. But now we need to fix just the actual click actions not working when I do meet the requirements, which must have been broken when I instead changed it to actions.run player. Astra log action ID. Action is null. All right. Now we're just checking in here. Alright. I might have to recode all this stuff later down the line. It's just so... it's annoying having all this code running into each other. Running deeper into lists and loops and all that. Right, yeah. Met permission requirement, and then... Okay, and then nothing. Okay, so let's say running click actions for click type. We want this, I want to say further debugging. All right. Actions is null. Okay, great. So why is it null? I didn't change anything in the menu item for actions. So we know that actions here is null. Means this is returning null. Which again, I didn't change anything for this. It could be because this. Oh. It's because it continues if it does contain it. That's my bad. It should be inverted. That's probably why it wasn't working. Alright. Everything should work now, hopefully. I say, but you know, anything can happen. Alright. Okay. There we go. See, everything works now. Need to remove this logging. There you go. Okay. I think we got everything set up then. Right? We just need to make more, you know, some more, permission, click requirements. in here. Okay. Also, we can go here and we could say, first off, if it's null, yep. So if permission starts with this, then we can say this permission substring 1. We can say this, and then we can say turn player has permission. So if it starts with a exclamation point in the permission field, then it'll check if they don't have, it'll return true if they don't have the permission. I can actually just say substring 1. Keep this as final. There we go. So that means we could say like this, and this will now return true if I do not have this permission. Simple as that. And now is online, click requirement. You could say okay, so string target, those options, get string player, right? Null. If target's null, turn false because they're not online. That target's null. Find player target input equals target input dot length greater than 16. So if the input is greater than 16, then we're going to assume that it's an ID, right? If target input length greater than 16, UID equals target UID. No, that's what I'm saying. Target UID from string target input. And this is a try catch. Because this can be throw an exception. Illegal argument exception. Turn false because they're not online because it doesn't exist, right? We can say target equals bucket get offline player UID. Or we can say else target equals bucket get offline player target input as the username, right? Now we could say if target has played before or target is online, we can actually just say turn target has played before and target is online, right? There we go. Easy. Make this class final. Now we can copy this and say is offline. Click requirement. Now we can say return if they have not played before or they are not online. Or actually, has played before can return false even if they're online, if it's their first time playing. So we're going to say has played before and not online, or target is online. Basically, it's saying they haven't played before and they're not currently online. or they're just not online. So I actually could say so if they're not online, then return. We don't need has played before. I just realized, yeah, we don't need that. We do also not need it here. We're fine. There we go. Is offline, is online. It's all good. You can now register it in our manager by saying here is online, new is offline. Okay. We'll add more like has money and stuff whenever we hook into Volt or our other currencies. This has been 4-hour stream today. Okay. I think we should end it here. I mean, yesterday we spent all the time making our actions, and today we spent most of our, like 90% of our time doing requirements. That makes sense, right? And then tomorrow, I will try and get into pagination. I say tomorrow, but maybe not tomorrow. It might just be next time we stream. I don't know when that'll be. So, yep. Thank you to everyone who tuned in and who chatted. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you follow, subscribe, all that if you haven't. Join the Discord. Discord.fabled.dev. I believe I could just type it in right here. There you go. So there's the Discord if you want to join. If you're not in it already, we do just basic. You know, you can just chat. There's game spoiler chat for when I stream games or whatever. There's coding talk. You can talk about code and stuff. Probably Java and plugins more specifically. And I also ping whenever I go live. There's 2 separate ping rules, one for live streams of coding and one for live streams of games. So yeah. See you guys next time.